Can you talk about the village and some of the details about that?
Yeah, it'll be on November 6th if all goes according to plan. The process for that to happen is for the city and the township to get together, form an authority. It's like the library. It's an independent entity, and they will appoint directors to that entity, and then that entity goes out and asks for a millage. At this point, given where we are in the private fundraising, it would come to around 0.75 of a mill, which is about $95 for the average homeowner with a $300,000 home. If you got $600,000 home, it's double that. But $95 a year, about $8 a month to fund this project. We're at this point, we're at about $6 million in private funds. We're going to continue to work on closing that. We have some additional opportunities, so that would reduce the amount. But at this point in time, if we didn't raise another dime, the worst case scenario, we would be looking at about $95 a year for the average homeowner.
This would be forever or just for
20 years. 20 years to fund about a $25 million bond issue, and that would be over a 20-year period of time, given current interest rates and things like that. Who else? Yes.
What will be the future for the community center in Farmer Street, that they're going to close it if this is...
The cultural center?
Yeah.
Yeah, the cultural center is a nice arena with a few rooms attached to it. That would obviously continue. That ice arena is absolutely at capacity. They do a terrific job over there. It's well run. The city runs it. There's no plans to make that part of this. Same thing with the Miracle League. That's a separate operation, and there's no interest in trying to combine them. Yes?
Would the friendship station that the seniors have today be incorporated into the park?
I think we should discuss that. It could be, it doesn't have to be. But I think everything that's done there could be done here. And I think the facility here is a little more conducive to seniors in the location and downtown and parking and things like that. But, you know, I think it's worthwhile having that discussion as to whether programs that are run there might be incorporated here. We can really handle at this facility everything that's done at the cultural center, at the friendship station, here, other locations, YMCA. This is a huge facility that can serve virtually every need in that arena. And I think there would be some advantage if seniors could come here and they have a permanent office space. They have their activities rooms. You got things going on in this room virtually every day. You can hang out here, come in here, listen to theater rehearsals and all that kind of stuff. There's so much activity going on that I think seniors would find attractive if they were here. You walk downtown, you go down to Dairy Queen, walk down to Starbucks, get a coffee, go over to the Historical Museum when they have events over there. I just think it's really so centrally located, and the facility is really works well. Like I said, we could do all senior programs on the first floor. No stairs, no walking. I mean, I think we can make it very attractive. So we'd like to, they're talking about these are the things that we need to do and they want to talk. We're going to be having those discussions and see where it goes. I mean, it's going to be what the community wants. This is not what I want. It's not what anybody else here wants. This is for the community. There's no way in the world any of us involved with this thing can ever make a dime out of this. We're donating our time. We're putting in financial resources into it for the benefit of the community. And we just want to be able to serve the community. We put a lot of work into this project, a lot of money into the project so far, all with private funds. We haven't put a penny of city money, township money, anybody else's money. It's all been private funds to do the business case, the preliminary designs, the market studies, get the place up and operating, doing it. We've done that all with private funds because I didn't think it was fair. We didn't think it was fair to go to the voters and say, do you want to do this or not, when we got nothing but an empty building and we don't have a plan. And so we really felt you need to do all of these things so people can make an informed decision. And now, hopefully they can. I don't know that we could do much more for the voters to make an informed decision. And then, you know, whatever the voters decide, the voters decide. But, you know, I have my own opinions, and I think it would be a tragedy if this place ended up bulldozed down. Because, you know, what do? We can't sustain it the way it is. It just cannot go on. It's a 100-year-old building. And you can't just keep a 100-year-old building going without some investment in this project. So, the outcome would not be very good if we don't get behind this and finish out this project.
You have time for another question?
Yes, sure.
Okay, so other than voting, what are the two things that you would like us to do that would be helpful to PARC?
Well, get informed. If you're not already, be as informed as you can be and talk to everybody you know. We're going to have, you can go to our website, you can steer people to our website. We've got a huge amount of information there. Put a park sign out. You see the Park Matters signs over there? Put one out in your front yard, take some along for your neighbors, stick them in their yard. We need to make the community aware. The biggest thing we need to do, there's an awareness, but still we need to build some momentum building up to that. We will have a campaign, there will be a campaign on the way done by citizens committees in the community, unlike anything I think this community has ever seen. So we need to get people involved with this. We need to talk about, I'm going to homeowners associations, we're going to every service group, we're doing these public forums. So we're trying to do everything we can. I'll tell you what, when I get in front of people and we do these presentations, very few walk out of there against it.
Yeah, what is the timeline for all the new construction? Is that
Well-
2 years, 5 years, 10 years?
Yeah, well, boy, I sure hope not, because I won't be here for the grand opening. No, we would really, if the millage goes through in November, then we can really pull the trigger. A lot of work has been done already on the renovation, the design renovation for the school and things that need to be done. Now you got to go through the city, we got some permitting and stuff like that, but we'll start on the renovation of the school in phase 1. But if the millage goes through in November, we've got 12 to 18 months worth of work on the theater, which would be the second phase of this, to get all the design done, to get through with the city and all the rest of it. So, you know, we're looking at into probably early 2021 before the whole project would be completed. As my mom said, my mother who's passed away, she said, well, that's only if the harness holds and the creek don't rise. You know? Yeah.
Do you have a plan B in case that the proposal is defeated?
You know, no.
I hope it's not.
There's not, because, you know, fine, if you lost by 100 votes, I guess you go back and try again. If you lose by 10,000 votes, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, we cannot sustain it. I just cannot emphasize enough that we cannot take this 100-year-old building, do all of this, and sustain this over a long period of time. Now, we've had to put significant resources into this building over the course of the last 2-3 years to get us to this point. And now once we do the renovation, the majority of that's going to go away. But I'm telling you, you know, we had to put a pile of money into the pool. That pool was 24 hours from getting shut down just about any time. Fortunately, we got a grant to put all new equipment on the pool and renovate that. But that's just a drop in the bucket compared to doing this whole project. And the sooner we get it done, the better. Because if this goes on too long, the boilers, maybe they blow up, you know, I don't know. And then you're shut down and you can't go on. So we have to make an investment here. And the other thing is, you know, there's always some controversy about the theater. We need the theater in order to make the entire economic model work. We already have all the property. We have the majority of the management staff in place. We can build that, and we got the infrastructure, we got the parking, we got utilities, we got everything here. That's a $25 million theater that we're going to build for $14 million. But I need the revenue from that theater to supplement what we already are doing in order for this to work for the long term. I don't want a situation where the taxpayers have to subsidize this. The plan is, and we will be able to operate this facility the way we proposed it, in a positive cash flow situation. So when the taxpayers are putting up money, it's for the facilities, nothing to do with operations. In fact, the documents preclude the authority from subsidizing our operations. So we have to be able to make it go on our own without any support from taxpayers indefinitely.
Many of us are informed and very excited about this. How can individuals volunteer if they're interested in doing a lot of
You see that young lady right behind you holding the microphone? You talk to her. We have a very good volunteer corps of people in a whole variety of disciplines. We have electricians, we got carpenters, we got plumbers, we got people cutting grass. We got Leon over here every time we need some heavy metal working done. He's doing welding and cutting. And So we know who to call, but we need all the help we can get. We need parking lot attendants. We made $89,000 parking cars in Art in the Park, but we needed something like 75 volunteers over the course of the 3 days to direct traffic and park cars. So we've got jobs for everybody as volunteers.
Yeah, now, what about people living outside of Plymouth? I'm a Cantonite, but I live here a lot. So, how can people in Canton be involved in this? Just as easily as those in Plymouth?
Sure.
Can you put signs out in our yard?
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. Put them out. I mean, you know, you want to get as much visibility. People from Plymouth really do go to camp too, you know? Despite what you might hear, and vice versa. So it really is a community thing. You know, Ted talking about the Plymouth Canton Steelers. You probably got as many kids or more from Canton than you do from Plymouth. About the same. The same thing with the swim teams and like. So the reach will be beyond Plymouth Canton. And then I get people say, well, why do we allow them in? Why do we lock the doors? Don't let anybody from Canton, Northfield, anybody in. Let me tell you, Plymouth has only got 9,000 people and the township's only got 27. We need as many people using these facilities as we can in order to create enough revenue and enough business in order to support the operation.
My thoughts on creating senior activities and things for seniors to do. People are living a lot longer now, and caregiver, and taking care of people that are in like 90, 98. And I'm 66, and these folks look at me and say, you know, it's so young. I'm 66. It's different now. So when you think about creating things for seniors, you're going from 55 all the way to 105. And just hoping that keep in mind and everybody has their input on what would interest them for such a long age time span.
Well, the city and township have agreed to form a committee, another committee, but I think they're serious about that, and engaging a large segment of the community to provide an input specifically for senior facilities, senior programs, and activities associated with that. You know, we're going to become an aging community. Plymouth and Plymouth Township is not going to see any growth over the next decade, despite what you might see with the construction going on. The forecast is for the city to probably lose 2% of its population in a township to just hold its own. So we're not going to be a growing community, but we will be an aging community. And when you look at the demographics that they talk about, we're going to be, 10 years from now, we're going to be an older community. And that's what's starting to get everybody's attention, and that's why you're seeing this stuff going on. They're saying we really need to serve the community, and how do we best do that? And I really, really think, and I think people are recognizing it, this facility could play a major role in satisfying those needs. And it already exists. I mean, it makes no sense to tear the whole thing down and start all over and build a whole new place from scratch and try to go out and sell that to the taxpayers. You end up with nothing. Yes?
What I would like to see here are more activities for our students with disabilities. Athletes with Autism is a great program.
Yeah.
Maybe, when you're thinking of recreational activities, please think of our students with disabilities.
Well, let me just address that in particular. We're a landlord. We do run a swim program here. That's it. We rent space to those that provide those services. And if you know of organizations out there, nonprofit organizations, that could serve this community like you're discussing, we would love to talk to them. But we are not staffed, nor do we want to go down the direction that we're going to provide the staffing and programs to everybody. That's where all these other programs get in trouble. When you look at the money problems they got, okay, we got to do this, and somebody wants line dancing at 10 a.m. on Saturdays, and the next thing you know, you got these ballooning staffs and huge payrolls, and then you got a problem. So our model here is to provide the facilities for those to come in and pay a modest fee in order to use those facilities to serve the community. But yeah, there are a lot of areas we would like to see in here where there's needs in the community. And we're picking them up at a pretty good clip too. And like I say, if you know a particular organization, they should talk to us. We can't give it away. I mean, we got to pay the bills here too. But we can make it reasonably attractive. Yes.
If you said, let's say one of my township buddies, if you decided we needed a rec center in the township, let's say, we didn't want to partner with the city, what that thing would cost to buy the land, build a brand new facility, and we've got some data points close, like the Canton facility and Livonia Cent facility, brand new ones. Do you have any idea what those things cost that you could use as a, I'm guessing the renovations here would be less.
Well, you would not have, if you wanted to, tear this down and build from the ground up. I don't know. I hate to speculate on it, but if it were in the range of 40, 50, 60 million, depending on how far you go. I mean, there's no way in the world you can spend $1 million to tear this building down. It would cost you $1 million to tear it down.
If there's a way of getting those numbers, it might be a good idea
Well,
to say, hey, by the way, it cost Livonia 60 million.
But the biggest argument is we don't need it. All right, it's not that we should build a new one. That the arguments come in is, I don't want paper, I don't need it, I'd never use it, bulldoze it down, and the last thing you'd want to do is build a new one. So the opposition usually is not about let's build a new one at twice the cost. I think we get a lot of value here. I don't think there's any question. If you look, we got 16.5 acres downtown. All right, what would that cost you if you had to go out and, first off, you couldn't get it. You cannot get a location like this in a downtown community. I don't care where you go in a community like this. So that's number one, you can't get it. The second thing is the cost today to start from scratch to do these things is incredible. And, I don't know, we're saving $10, $20 million by doing this?
Don't get me wrong, I'm with you.
Yeah, I understand.
I'm just saying that maybe those kind of points to have that data might help the argument.
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with what gets included. A facility can be 2 or 3 times another facility depending on what it is that you want to do. I mean, we're finding that we're somewhat limited here, that we got to kind of work with what we have, but you start with a blank piece of paper and these things just go through the roof. I mean, we can sit here and say, this room doesn't need a whole lot of work, all right? So if you had to replicate just this room, have a 275-seat theater, Village Theater was something like $11 million, all right? Just for the room,
Any opportunity for historic preservation tax credits?
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Historic preservation tax
Yeah.
credit?
Well, I tell you, they're really tough to get. It takes a lot of time and a lot of strings attached. And, there's always possibilities or maybe some in the future, but if we were to go down that route right now, the whole project, I think you put the project at risk, frankly. The gain is just not worth the pain on some of that. I mean, it's one thing if you want to raise a few $100,000 to preserve some building and you got time, but when you're out chasing $30 million, that's a tough way to find it. Yes, Gail?
Is anybody else?
I think we're done. All right, thank you. Thanks everybody for coming. Thanks. Oh yeah, we got a tour. Anybody that wants a tour of the facility, we are going to do that. If you want, or you can come back anytime and get one too. I mean,
If you want to take a tour of the recreational facilities, we're going to meet in the back of the theater. And then we'll get organized back there. If you don't have time, then call anytime.